right, so now I want to talk about, we're still on topic 3, day 5. I want to talk about using the quadratic formula with rational solutions. So let's look at a couple of these. All right, so I want to do, it says solve with the quadratic formula. I want to find all the rational solutions or all the real solutions. So the first thing that you need to do is you need to write it in the form ax squared plus bx plus c equals 0. So this is called standard form. So that means I'm going to add the 6w squared to both sides on the like terms. Then I'll come over here. 19 plus 6 is 25w squared minus 30w plus 8 now equals 0. The second step is going to be to identify A, B, and C. So I look and I see that A is the number in front of whatever is squared, so A is 25, B is negative 30, and C is 8. Step 3 is going to be to apply the quadratic formula. So if you forgot the quadratic formula, here it is. X equals negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4 times a times c all over 2 times a. So I'm going to take this formula and I'm going to substitute in negative 30 for b, 25 for a, and 8 for c. So x equals negative b, or the opposite of b. So the opposite of negative 30 is positive 30, plus or minus the square root, b squared, so negative 30 squared is 900. And it's best to square this before you just write it in. So I always square it in my head. And remember, whenever you square something, you multiply a number times itself. A negative times a negative is always positive. So this first number should always be positive, okay? Minus 4 times A, which is 25, times C, which is 8, and then all over 2 times A, and A is 25. Then you're going to simplify using order of operations. And I'm going to abbreviate order of operations with PEMDAS because that's usually the method my students have used for order of operations. So PEMDAS means start with the parentheses first. So parentheses or grouping symbols act like parentheses, and within the parentheses or within the grouping symbol, I have multiplication happening. So I'm going to do this part first. So x equals 30 plus or minus the square root 900 minus 4 times 25 times 8 is 800 all over, and I'm going to go ahead and multiply 2 times 25. 2 times 25 is 50. Now I know 900 minus 800 is 100, so I'll just change that to 100. Then go from there. Take the square root. 30 plus or minus the square root of 100 is 10 over 50. And this is going to lend itself to two answers. One answer is 30 plus 10 divided by 50. X equals that. And the other one is 30 minus 10 divided by 50. This plus or minus symbol here is going to give me two different answers. So let's simplify. If it will let me. 30 plus 10 is 40 over 50, and 40 over 50 reduces to 4/5. And then 30 minus 10 is 20 over 50, and 20 over 50 reduces to 2/5. So my two solutions are 4/5 and 2/5. Then you'll have another one like that. If you go back out, we have this irrational level 2. So let's look at some of these. It's the same idea, it's just your answers are going to look a little more complex. So let's go ahead and write it in standard form. So subtract the 2c squared on both sides. 3c squared minus 2c squared is c squared plus 7c plus 2 equals 0. The a, there's nothing in front of the c squared, so a is 1, b is 7, c is 2. Then I'm going to take my quadratic formula. I'm going to write it out again so I can remember it. X equals negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. Then I'm going to substitute stuff in. So negative b, negative 7, plus or minus the square root of b squared. So 7 squared is 49, minus 4 times a, which is 1, times c, which is 2, all over 2a, or all over 2 times 1. Now we're going to simplify. Negative 7 plus or minus the square root, 49, 4 times 1 times 2 is 8, minus 8, all over 2. So we get x equals negative 7 plus or minus the square root of, let's see, 49 minus 8 is 41 over 2. And you can't simplify the square root of 41, so I have two answers here. And I don't want to give, see how it says equation for all real solutions in simplest form? It doesn't want me to round. Oh, and I can use the plus or minus button, so let's try entering it just like this. And if it won't take it like that, then we'll try the other form. So x equals negative 7 plus or minus the square root of 41 all over 2. Submit it like that. And we're correct. So have fun with this assignment. If you need anything, please let me know, and I will be more than happy to help.